Astro News.
Hey everyone, listen, I thought I'd do a little twist on Mercury retrograde here this month so that we can look at the upside of things, okay? Because we always hear the negative, that everything goes haywire, there's delays, and everybody goes, ooh, it's Mercury retrograde time again. And that is so. That is so. We do know that we do not want to do anything new, start anything, sign any signatures, anything with documents or new projects. So, we're not taking away from that. We do want to be aware of it. Any kind of costly objects and so forth too. We don't want to buy new equipment under a Mercury retrograde. But we all know this. So is there an upside to Mercury retrograde? That's what we're going to explore today. So Mercury rules thoughts, communications, anything linear, thought processing. And for all of us, we have them in our own various houses. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how this can affect you, because there's always an upside to everything. What can Mercury do for us when it retrogrades? How can we empower ourselves when retrogrades come around? Because we're not just victims. We're only victims if we choose to be, or if we don't, see things from a higher objective, spiritual point of view. So instead of being the victim, I would like to look at how we can bring our power back, how we can use this really and transform ourselves so we can start looking forward to retrogrades, because there's a time and a season for everything. So when Mercury retrogrades, okay, so don't start new projects, but you already have stuff going on in your life that you've already started in the past. And what happens is that we move forward sometimes too quickly, so we don't stop to pay enough attention to things, and then it's going to crap up anyway, right? So when Mercury goes retrograde, it allows us a time to reflect, revise, look back over things. How can we tweak it and make things or situations or projects better? Okay? And plus it brings situations from the past into the now. So we become revisited by people, places, circumstance, and karma too. So there's always that loop around, and it allows us time to reconnect with those people that we haven't seen for a long time or heard from for a long time. It allows ourselves to revisit thoughts, ideas, concepts, dreams too, that we haven't had time to catch up on. And a lot of those intentions or thoughts, dreams that we've had are actually little pots of gold. They're treasures, and we've just stuffed them back down in our subconsciousness because we haven't had time in our everyday busy life, right? So let's revisit. What thoughts have you had here over these last few months? Think about it. What ideas have come to mind as you were rushing forward? Like, hey, this would be a good tweak. And you haven't had time to process it. So you kind of stuffed it. I would like you to look at all those things that are beautiful, perfect thought patterns, ideas, concepts, dreams that you have just stuffed. Take them up now over these next 3.5 weeks and revisit them yourself. You can see how some of these ideas may actually fit into the now, and when by the time Mercury is going to go direct again, you may have added this pot of gold, this treasure that you can now bring forward in the months to come until Mercury goes retrograde again. This is one of the upsides. And so if we can look at it positively, then we start understanding the seasons and reasons of things, because Cosmos never makes a mistake. It knows what it's doing. It's giving us time to get off that treadmill. And it's only 3.5 weeks. We get step off that treadmill, so we have time to catch up with ourselves. Now, isn't that a positive thing? I think so. And catching up with people that you haven't heard from for a long time, now you have time to go revisit, and reconnect. That's also a positive in our life. So as long as we stay away from signing new contracts or starting a new business. Don't want to do that under a retrograde. But then kind of look at, you have 3.5 weeks of grace period from Cosmos to kind of re-look, retweak. Is this the best you can do? And then pay attention here from today as Mercury starts its retrograde, and pay attention to July 21st when it's over, and see what you've added to your life. See what you've added to your career or your concepts that you're thinking about. And then see if it hasn't been a blessing. We want to find the blessings. And this is why, I'm always looking out for you and how you can grow consciously in the best possible way. And so I don't like when we fear things, because as soon as there's a fearful thought, we block. We put up the wall. We block all kinds of possibilities. But as we open and we're curious, it's like, what is this going to do for me? We open our minds, and those little antennas that only come out 3 times a year under retrograde, they start seeking and feeling, bringing in those things that we don't pay attention to. So let me just run it by you. Where is this Mercury going to be for you here in July? Well, from end of June, if you're listening to it here on this side of the month. Just so you know where you can focus, where you can pay attention, and then start seeing how it's going to affect you. Because it will affect you, right? And then instead of going crap, look how you can turn the crap to something beautiful. Starting off with you, Aries, it's going to be in your 4th house. Anything that has to do with home, property, parents, all those things that have to do with the inner self, your roots, your heritage, those kind of things. You might have to rearrange something for your parents, perhaps, or you might upgrade something in your home. If you're going to be upgrading, be careful. Don't buy new appliances in this time because it is retrograde, but it's time to research. All the words with re in front of it, research, reinvent, revisit, redo, that's retrograde words. It's the re word, okay? So go research, for the new refrigerator or pool equipment, whatever it is, but don't buy it yet. Wait to the end of July. Tauruses, Mercury retrograde is going to be in the 3rd house. This has everything to do with your near community, your neighbors, brothers, sisters, your siblings, and communication at large, public relations and so forth, being on the wires, the phone, texting and so forth. How is this going to go for you this month? And you might feel it a little stronger because Mercury rules this house. So it's kind of like a little bit of a double whammy tweak there. So how are you communicating? Are you communicating in a good way? Is it positive? Is it negative? You might be hearing a lot of that inner chatter, that inner voice that will guide you, and are you guiding yourself in a good way? Or are you talking yourself down? Mercury can do both those things, especially here in the 3rd house, which is a Gemini house as well. So make sure that you're paying attention to your thoughts and how you communicate. There might be a lot of miscommunications because Mercury is retrograde. However, you want to be, the observer as much as being the participant in this. And then for you, Geminis, you will have your Mercury retrograde in your 2nd house for money, income, self-esteem, those things that you value. So you might have to pay a little bit extra attention how much goes out as much as what comes in. You might feel that you're overspending, and if so, well, then there might be some tweaking needed there. So, and also how you're looking at your own self-worth. How are you dealing with it? Are you adding to your self-worth? Have you been diminishing, doing things that have been picking away at your self-worth? Well, then follow that too. Pay attention to it and allow this retrograde to help you readjust, so that when you're out of it, you have a better feeling, a better picture of who you are and your self-worth than you had before it came in. You might also feel that there's people coming out in the past. If you owe any money, well, this would be the time to revisit with them, and vice versa too. And then for you, Cancerians, you will have your Mercury retrograde in the first house. And the first house is all about you, who you are, how you feel about yourself, and how you present yourself to the world at large. There might be a little tweaks going on here. If you feel that things are stopping up a little bit, it's for a reason. How can you improve? This is what Mercury wants us to do. How can we improve ourselves? So if it's the first house, which is the rising sign, how can you improve your image out to the world? And also, are you getting enough self-nourishment? Are you nourishing yourself or others? You know, you might want to adjust that too, or pay attention to how that nurturing energy comes into your life. And then we have you Leos, Mercury retrograde, 12th house. So for you, it's all that subconscious energy, listening more, paying attention more to your dreams perhaps. Not just your night dreams, but maybe also your daydreams. Where is your mind taking you? Because the 12th house is like the ocean. We're not like limited to a little lake, you know, swirling around in that. And water is always our emotional self. It symbolizes our feelings. So out on this wide, big ocean, are you navigating in a clear day, you know, with clear sunlight? Do you know where you're heading? Or are you feeling that you're getting a little lost? You know, if you look around, is it foggy or not? Because you're going to have to tweak your navigation, and your navigation is listening to your intuition. This is what the 12th house is all about. It's the psychic house. And you, believe it or not, as everyone is, psychic and intuitive. So having it here for 3.5 weeks, the upside and the blessing is that you get to really sense your own sense of intuition. Listen to it, act upon it, test it and explore it. And you will be stronger coming out of it, so you can bring this gift with you into the year about trusting this intuition. So the cosmos is giving you a little mini course here of growing this side of yourself. And then we have Virgos. You have your Mercury retrograde in the 11th house. So it's time for you to kind of like catch back up with friends and those hopes and dreams that the 11th house represents. Or also communicating and fixing or arranging, looking back over commitments perhaps with certain groups that you've started up. You might just find out that this isn't for you. And if it isn't, well, time to turn that corner. You know, but it's not time to start anything new, but it's time to kind of like weed out. Look around you in your groups of friends or your social networks. What works for you? What doesn't work for you? You might have signed up for a whole bunch of groups out there and then figuring out it's just stealing way too much time out of your daily schedule. Well, this is the time to clear that up so you can free yourself from that. Then we have you Libras. Then we have you Libras, and you have it in your 10th house. So that's all about career. Now, this may be a time for you where you might be second-guessing yourself. You know, you might have felt that you were onward heading down this main road towards a specific goal. And now you might go, well, is that really what I want? You know, if you're feeling doubt and sensing it, take time off. You don't have to catch the train. If there's doubt, listen to it, because if you were 100% convinced, knowing where you're heading, there wouldn't be room for doubt, is there? Therefore, doubt becomes our very best friend. Listen to it, okay? So these choices that you're coming up with as you're tweaking these weeks will set you straight here once we get to July 21st. And then we have you Scorpions, okay? This is your 9th house. So you've been kind of steamrolling right along, you know, reaching for those higher goals and seeking, really feeling that something needs to expand in your consciousness, you know, whether that is going back to school, taking some courses, or trying to find your place in the universe, you know, and this has been really important to you, a lot of you, for a long time now, over these last, you know, several months. as if knowing that there's so much more of your consciousness, so much more of your emotions that really wants to come up and out and spread its wings. Well, this Mercury retrograde, its blessing for you is to stop, get off the treadmill, give yourself some time now to really go in and feel these things that are important to you. This is you taking time off, or should I say, it's the universe giving you time off so that you can make some very healthy and wise choices, so you can step down from certain areas that are stealing your energy, so that you can, when Mercury goes direct again, actually be more on track to figure out the right path for you to take, and you will feel that much more relieved at end of July. And then you Sagittarius, yes, well, for you, it's all about intimacy. You know, it could be sexuality, all those very close one-on-one bonds. It also has to do with your finances, investments, other people's money, corporations, and so forth. For you, it's more like, well, how can you now actually focus on, this is you getting more time, so this is your treasure pot. Taking this time off will allow you to tweak how you can progress once Mercury goes direct again. Some of you might have felt that things have just been rolling on and you haven't had time to kind of focus here. So if something has suddenly shut a door on you and you're all upset right now as Mercury goes retrograde, don't, condemn it and don't damn it to pieces either. Say, hey, okay, the universe knows what it's doing. It's shutting me down now so I can really think things through and find the perfect path out of this. And it's only 3.5 weeks, so but it's still long enough time for you to actually look at how you can get up and out of your rut so that you can actually speed ahead when Mercury goes direct. Okay? Also in those intimate issues as well. And then we have you, Capricorns. Capricorns, it's 7th house for you. Partnerships, marriage, your significant other. It's how we work with people one-on-one. There might be somebody around you, Capricorn, that really needs your attention here in this retrograde period. And it may be your spouse, your significant other, or it could be somebody else. It could be a partner or somebody close to you really needing your one-on-one attention. And this is the universe allowing you to take time off from everything else that's sucking your energy so that you can be with this person, and research what needs to be researched so you can help and support this person well enough. It's also for you to really figure out whether you want to stay on this path, say if it is in a relationship, for example, because there's many things we can point out here, but if it's a relationship, you might want to kind of rethink whether this is what you want. If you feel stuck or kind of like pressured in a relationship, you might just find out not doing it no more, and then that becomes your blessing. And then we have Aquarius, and this is your 6th house. It's your health and day-to-day routines. It's how you can empower yourself. The universe giving you a little time off so that you can revisit the gym or revisit those jogging shoes so you can get out there and bring your energy up, or also get onto that diet. So this is the scope that Mercury is allowing you to really become empowered. So forget about these other things around you right now, because your health and how you eliminate a lot of these things out of your daily routines that keep sucking your energy. You might find out that you have been spending way too much time on, say, the cell phone, texting, Facebook, all of these things that just eat away at your days. Well, you might now find out that everything is going haywire for you on the computer, so you will just give it up, for a few days, and find out that, you're still surviving without having your nose to that cell phone, right? And see that actually it's quite liberating to let go of some of those chains. And then for you, Pisceans, yes, last one on the list here, for you it's the 5th house. So I see that you've been plodding along really having a lot of creative ideas, wanting to kind of like really launch something, because whatever it is you're thinking about does look quite creative. And then here comes retrograde and puts the lock on the door and saying, hey, hold up a minute. Don't get, disgusted or let down because of it. Because what retro is going to do for you is bring new things in that you still don't know yet today. Okay, but it will be evident to you within the next 3.5 weeks. By the time Mercury goes direct again, you will come to see what a blessing this retrograde has been, because by not moving forward or starting anything new on these creative projects that you have, you will be seeing that as you look back, you've had some other wonderful creative moments, flashes of intuition and creativity that you now can implement so that your product, whatever it is, will be even better as you move forward again. Okay, so nothing is lost, a whole lot is gained. Oops, I had to change battery pack there. So where was I? Yes, what I would like to say is what I would want you to do is by the end of Mercury retrograde, July 21st, I would love for you to come back here and comment below all the positive things that you have found out that Mercury retrograde gave you. You're free to also comment on all the crap that happened, because we cannot avoid that. That will happen too. But instead of just staying in this one dimension and allowing ourselves just to feel all the aggravation, frustration, and anger, and darn this, darn that, we're not going to get much out of the opportunity that retro gives us. So by going up and becoming the observer, instead of just being the participant will only allow us to feel and experience the frustration. But as we raise in our consciousness and become the observer of when a door shuts down or something closes up and you can't move forward, well, look at it as the gift. What have you achieved in these 3.5 weeks? What kind of new solutions did you come from? Because as the observer, you don't get frustrated. There's no emotions when we look from our higher self down on a situation. We're neutral there. And we're looking both the past, now, and future, because there's no limitation here on this level. As the observer, you can look to the past, now, and the future. And so you can look around the corner. Okay, if this stops here, what can I do there? So always go up in your higher perspective and become the observer of your life. And so I'm really excited, because I think as a group that we are, that we can turn our perception on retrogrades around. And of course, Mercury is the most important one because it comes around so quickly and so often. But it also helps for all the retrogrades. The outer planets may, be retrograde 5 or 6 months at a time. Mercury is only 3.5 weeks, but it is more touching our day-to-day lives and routines, and therefore so frustrating. So, okay, are we going to do this hunt together? I think we will, and I'm excited to hear from you at the end of this retrograde. And I hope that this has helped to empower you. I'm always here looking out for you. Bye now.